So it's real life.
It's real life. It's raining. I have girls. They don't want to go where I want them to go, so they're going to go back. They're going to go back to where they belong.
Yes. All right. So today we're talking about the good girl wound.
Good girls.
And you said you had never heard of this.
No. I mean, because I attack the whole nice girl thing all the time. Oh. And so one of my best friends in the whole world, I offended her greatly one time because we were talking and she was like talking about this interaction she had with this other girl. And she's like, and then the girl was like, she had to like basically be direct with somebody. And she's like, and she thought I wasn't nice. And I said, well, you're not nice. And she goes, what do you mean I'm not nice? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and when I talk to you about this with this woman, she does charity. She does fundraisers. She is a teacher. She is just one of the most amazing human beings on the planet. Like, just so wonderful. But she's kind. She's kind. She's genuine. She does all these things out of the goodness of her heart. But she will also tell you have spinach in your teeth, or like, oh my gosh, like, you're so pretty, like, that drowns you out, that color, whatever. Like, she's so kind. But this obsession about being nice. I was like, don't worry about being nice. Let her think you're not nice, but you are the kindest person I know. And that's the difference, I think, between like nice and being kind. Is nice is this perception that we're just trying to be. Like, we want to be labeled nice. Just be kind. Like, that's all you need to be. That's the action. I think nice is just the term.
Yeah. Sounds like she got a good girl wound.
She's amazing.
Okay, so good girl wound is the cost of being nice, but at the expense of being real, genuine, and authentic. Right?
Okay.
It's like the cost of being nice or being nice, right? And the expense is like you're trying to hide your humanness.
Okay.
Right? And then you lose that also, right?
So nice is almost just a mask.
Yeah, so it's being agreeable, being nice, being low maintenance, being like the chill, laid back girl, like I don't care, I don't mind, whatever. And if I do those and I am those things, then I am somehow going to be safe and worthy of love, acceptance, and belonging.
Okay.
So that is the good girl wound. So it's this like core belief, if I am good, helpful, and kind, I'll be safe, wanted, and loved.
Okay.
Do you feel called out yet? Because I feel called out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't even know. I was like, what is this? And then I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I have this good girl wound.
Absolutely. I think I would love to hear from any woman who doesn't feel that
doesn't have the good girl wound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, from birth, it's, be a good girl, right?
Yes.
And what's synonymous of that? You be nice to everybody. You be really sweet, and of course, like we'll talk about, don't be angry, don't be nasty. And so you don't get to express any of those things. You're just worried about this mask of being nice, being good.
Yeah. Like, what does it mean to be a good girl?
Yeah.
Right?
And what are you never allowed to be if you're a good girl?
Anything other than
right.
That. So where does it come from? So early on, to your point, you get praised for being a good girl. You get praised for being easy. You get praised for doing the right thing. And no one needed, that one's so easy. I never had to say anything to her. Right? So you get praised for almost being invisible. Yes. Like you're so low maintenance, people don't even really notice you.
Right.
Learning very early on that anger leads to rejection.
Yes. Okay.
I think especially for women.
Yes.
Like women, anytime women express anger, it's you're crazy.
Yes.
Or you're blowing this out of proportion. Or why are you so mad?
You're being dramatic.
Yes.
You're hormonal.
Is it that time of the month?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always negative if we are upset. But when a man is upset, everything stops and we try to figure out what made you so angry. What's wrong, right? But women are often treated very differently. Like, I think the word dramatic comes out often to explain any emotions that women are having. They're just dramatic.
How many times do you have like women that will say, I have so many that will say like, I don't know why this is upsetting me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of saying, I don't know why I'm angry.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why. But not only I don't know why I'm angry, but I shouldn't be angry.
There's that. Yeah. There's that. I haven't justified this enough to have
Correct.
this emotion.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no justification great enough for me to be allowed to have this emotion.
No, there's
Right.
not.
Where that's just not true for the other gender. It really isn't. Like if a male is upset, he doesn't have to rationalize the rights to be upset.
Women
Just
can be
upset.
sad, women can be in pain, and women can be hurt,
Yeah.
right? Women cannot be angry.
Yeah.
It's not a good look,
Well, and
right?
women can-
That's the message you receive.
But women can only be sad or hurt to a particular level too, right?
Correct.
Because
There's a cap.
We're also, and not to be TMI to anybody out there, but like we go to work or school or all these other things while we are bleeding, while we are cramping. Don't get it twisted. When women have their cycle, they're dilated. So we are going through all of these things and expected to still act like nothing is happening.
Be a good girl.
Right.
Be a good
And
girl.
so there's, part of society that recognizes that we go through that stuff, but there's also part of society that's like, okay, yeah, but we don't need to know about it, talk about it, or acknowledge you're going through it.
Yeah, it should just be done like quietly.
Right. It's
So
insane.
no one can see it.
And for years you didn't talk about that stuff. Like now
We're still kind of not talking about
yeah,
it.
I mean, we have like, well, my poor husband's got too many girls in the house to not hear the conversations about things like that. And so I think it's a little bit more like generations of men have changed. And they're really much more open to talking about that and having some empathy. But I just think we've conditioned women to be like, it does suck, but deal.
Yeah,
Just deal with it.
be a good girl. Other origins, caretaking and parentified child, which is what I talked about
Yeah.
on our Mother's Day episode,
Yeah.
is that you become a caretaker and a parent to your parent, but you're doing so as a child that is not at all equipped to parent anyone, let alone your parent.
Right. Right. And when you talk to some people who grew up in households that were very challenging and very chaotic, and they had to become adults quickly, it's usually the female in the household
Yes.
that took on all the responsibilities of if there were other siblings or cooking dinner or taking care of laundry. I interview a lot of women and they'll talk about, how early they were the person who took care of dinners, packed people's lunches, took care of people's laundry. And we just, force that on them very early and expect them to take it up and be okay with it. Be a good girl about it.
Yeah. Another one, being punished for boundaries.
Yeah. We've talked about boundaries so much that anyone listening should be an expert at boundaries.
Just say no. But yeah, you weren't allowed to have boundaries, right? If you tried to set a boundary, someone always tried to push it, step over it, squash it, or rationalize it away as like, here's why it shouldn't exist.
Right. Yeah. I saw, and when I say I saw or I read, it really was just a TikTok. But I saw
love
on a
that.
TikTok.
Thank you. Thank you for your honesty.
I'm going to own it.
Yeah.
So on my TikTok at some point in my algorithm, there was this man who was giving this speech very negatively about women, talking about how romance books that women are reading nowadays are, way too graphic.
Oh.
And the argument was being made on the other side that we're like, wait a minute, men have been watching these type of graphic things forever, right? And now you're going to say that women shouldn't be reading. They're not even watching, they're just reading, and then we're creating the pictures in our head. But we're reading these things, and that is horrible and terrible. And really what you're saying is good girls don't do that. Right. Let's be real. That's what we're saying. We're saying that men can watch things like that and find some sort of pleasure out of those. But women, you don't need that. You don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. And that's exactly, it's shaming because women shouldn't do that. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I know you run on your treadmill, but when I run outside in the summer, if I'm wearing a sports bra, I'll say to my husband, like, oh, it's so annoying. I'm like running, I'm getting honked at. And he's just like, oh, not even thinking, right? Because I think the orientation is just like, well, why wouldn't you wear a shirt? And I'm like, again, like and he doesn't mean anything by it, right? But I think it's that not having that perspective of like, again, I'm supposed to make myself invisible. And if I don't, anything that doesn't, I'm not a good girl. Like if I'm drawing attention to myself because of what I'm wearing or how I'm wearing it, that's my fault.
Yeah.
That's my problem. And I should know better and do different.
Right.
But you don't have to do anything different.
Right. And I think that's, I think it's so frustrating. Right? It's always been frustrating, I think, to try to navigate this world as a female. I think it's becoming equally frustrating nowadays just because we're still talking about some of the same things we've been talking about forever, which is, women's safety and the argument of others trying to say that the responsibility of women's safety is on them to watch out for certain things that it's just impossible for us to do.
Well, why'd you go running late at night?
Right.
Well, why'd you wear that?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, why didn't you go with a friend?
Yeah. Even if you're dressed up to give a presentation or a speech and you're headed into the local, gas station / coffee station, and you walk by and some people say stuff to you and you're dressed in your most professional attire, but you look lovely in it. It's your fault. Like, it's your fault that people are saying things to you. It's your fault. Like, there's nothing you could have done differently. Like, you picked out a suit. It looked great in the suit. You didn't do anything wrong. But I think we address the females portion of that before we actually attack what's really going on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So here are some signs as an adult, things you may be doing as an adult that may indicate that you have a good girl wound.
Mentality. Okay.
Yes. So saying, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Like, no, it's okay though. It's okay.
It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Like, no one called me on my birthday. Like,
It's fine.
it's fine. It's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, women know that when we hear other women say that, it's not fine. It's not fine. It's a ticking time bomb, and it's going to go off at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we say it because
It's most definitely not
it's not fine.
fine. So when you hear it's fine, please interpret that as it's not
Yeah.
fine.
Men, if you hear that response,
Yes.
it's not fine.
Yes.
Do something about that.
Yes. Or if your good girl like veneer has kind of started to slip and you may look perturbed or upset or angry or sad or something that you've been masking.
Yeah.
And then someone is like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Right? A good girl in adulthood, you just then say, yeah, I'm just tired.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm just tired. That's why. Sorry sprays.
Yeah. Sorry's is a big one. It comes
Sorry sprays. Spraying it all over people like it's a like garden hose.
Yeah. How many times has a client come to you and said, I have to stop saying I'm sorry to everybody. People say I say it too much. Like, I say it all the time. I say it to everything. You're like, okay. Yeah. There's no reason for you to apologize for
Your existence?
everything.
Well, because that's really what you're apologizing for, right? Like your existence was somehow bothersome to somebody or somebody's, like the way you breathed, the way you looked, the way you dressed, the way you did whatever it was you were doing, that was bothersome. So then you get the message that like who I am, my existence as a person, I need to apologize for.
Or I inconvenienced you.
Yes.
And even though I inconvenienced you because I was inconvenienced, which is how I'm either late or whatever it is I'm apologizing for. But again, it's that validation. Like, you get no validation. We just have to be, I'm sorry to the person I inconvenienced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Resting feels guilty.
We talked about this last time where I said I had to earn my
You had to earn your rest.
time on my couch.
I don't know, Nina. I think you might have a good girl wound. Ooh, this one. Abandon your needs and call it love.
Yeah.
That old self-sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of quietly resenting doing it. And you're like, but then you're convincing yourself, like, this is what it means to love someone.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
And it's not just, kind of like the mom sacrifice thing. I mean, let's just talk about relationships in general. I have so many women who are accepting poor relationships right now. It's astounding. And it's astounding they're still staying in them because I'm in their face.
The Flintstone-mobile.
Yes.
The Flintstone-mobile. They're still riding it and trying to call it like it's the Lexus.
Right. It's unbelievable. I mean, you could pull out a million reasons why this relationship is no longer serving you. It's not giving you anything positive. But you're staying in it. You're going to show that loyalty that you are going to be that person. It's ridiculous. We're staying way too long in these horrible relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, confusing being liked with being safe.
Yes.
If everyone likes me, I am safe. That is people pleasing. If you have that going on, you probably have a good girl wound. If one of your top priorities is, I need everyone to like me and I can't stand it when people don't like me.
Yeah. And that, I think a lot of people can identify with that, with having to be liked, needing to be liked. And the feelings that you get when somebody doesn't like you, when you really know, like that person really doesn't like me, or that person at work, like, you know, he or she doesn't talk to me, doesn't include me in any of the projects, like I don't think they like me, and how much that really causes anxiety when the work really needs to be done of, I need to accept that not everybody's going to like me, like, which is so hard for people to grasp. But one of the things we do often when people have that issue is we actually go over the person who doesn't like them. Like, tell me about the person who doesn't like you. And eventually I'll say to my client, you know, well, if you could be that person's friend, like, were you dying to be that person's friend? They're usually like, no, he's so annoying. You know, da, da, da. So he just showed it first. You don't like him either. He just showed his cards first.
But that's kind of like, you know, when someone is going to break up and they're like, I just want to let you know I was the one that left. Right? Like, both people have been probably quietly thinking about ending this relationship for I don't know how long.
But how dare
and then
you
whoever,
say it first?
yeah, how dare you say it first? You're not going to reject me. I'm not going to give you a chance. I'm rejecting you.
That's right.
I'm riding away in the Flintstone mobile. Toodles.
I'm a good girl. How could you not want to be with me?
Gosh. Another sign in adulthood is the perpetual, like, how can I help? How can I show up for you? What can I do? What can I do? Like, constantly saying that to people. But then it's like, how often are we asking ourselves that question?
Yes.
Like,
That's
how
a
can
good
I show
point.
up for me? How can I help me?
You mentioned earlier, like the whole when you go to somebody's house and you ask, like, what can I do or what can I bring?
What can I bring?
That was so drilled into our heads when we were young. Like, that you never, it was like one of the first things when you got old enough to like go to people's houses, is that, like, when you were, you know, a little bit of an adult, and your parents would remind you, or your mom would remind you, like, make sure you ask what you can bring. You don't go to somebody's house empty handed. So now there's always that stress. Like, when you're invited to someone's house, you're like, all right, I got to bring something. What am I going to bring? What do I bring? Do they want food? Do they drink? Do they not drink? I don't want to bring something if they don't drink.
Candle. A houseplant? A succulent. A cactus?
Nowadays, some gas. I'll give you some gas money for your car.
Yeah. How about a Wawa gift card? You want that? How's that?
Amazon gift card.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were
Don't show up empty-handed. How
A
dare
good
you?
girl would never
Yeah.
show up empty-handed.
No. No. She would absolutely never.
No.
All right. So what do we do if we have a good girl wound? What do we do? Because that thing is a gaping wound.
I mean, need some stitches.
It is. It's going to get infected. It's going to be all kinds of things.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things, and I think you talked about this at the beginning, is learning how to be honest instead of being agreeable.
Right.
And that's what you talked about with your friend.
Yes.
Of like, not nice, you're kind. I would not call myself. I don't think I would ever call myself a nice person, and not in a self-deprecating way, because I agree with you. I think I'm like very direct. I think I am very honest.
Yeah. And kind. You're very kind.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Ditto.
And there's other words too, like gracious, like such a
Yes.
gracious person.
Compassionate.
Yes. Like there are so many other words than just nice and
Or good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we're so stuck on those, I think more as females than anything. And those two words do not define us. Like they don't. We need to migrate away from those. Or to your point, if somebody says we're not those, like, well, you're not very nice. Go ahead and say, you know what? Maybe what I said wasn't very nice. That's okay, but that's how I feel, or here's what I meant. But you don't have to figure out how to be nice all the time.
Yeah, I'm not going to take it back and like recalibrate it and then deliver it in a way that I'm not doing. Why are we doing that? Here's another part of healing. Let people own their disappointment.
Yes.
That is hard. That is a hard one.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing you can say to someone, though, and I try really hard not to say it, but especially to kids, is like, but saying to anyone, I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, I don't like that word.
It's so shaming.
Yeah.
It's so shaming. So don't take on other people's disappointment. Like, let them own it. Let them sit in it.
Yeah.
It belongs to them.
And two, I think there is, and I think this becomes part of that self-narrative you were talking about too, of trying to be a little bit kinder to ourselves, is it's okay to own how I might be perceived by somebody else, right? So if Irish exit, which I love to do from social situations, and I slip out and you say to me the next day, like, I didn't even see you leave. You didn't say goodbye to me. I can look at that and be like, yeah, I kind of left her. I didn't say goodbye. Like, I could kind of see how she was a little bit upset about that. That's fine. That is fine. Like, I can own that I did that. I can own what she's saying about it. No one has to change who they are.
Correct.
Right? I don't have to say I'm sorry.
Correct.
Right? I can just say, I know, I didn't even catch it before I left. It's fine. But like you said, just owning some of those things and then allowing it to be okay.
Right. So sometimes instead of saying I'm sorry, you could say, I can see how it came across that way. I can see how it came across that way.
Or I get it. I get it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Or here's my favorite one I'll do for myself. Like if my husband will point out something, I'll be like, yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. Right? Like,
yep. No lies detected.
Right. Seriously. Yeah, I do it.
Yeah. So another healing behavior is stop PowerPointing. And we've talked about this so many times. Stop giving TED Talks. Stop giving, 80 slide PowerPoint decks on like why you can't do something, why you feel the way you feel, why you need what you need. I need to rest. And I'm like, oh, my Lanta.
Yeah.
Like not doing that.
Yeah.
Right. Like you don't have to justify
Right.
your needs, your dislikes, your wants, your humanness. You don't have to justify that.
Right. But a good girl would show up to everything, right? A nice
With a
person
smile on.
would show up and do whatever
With
you
a
need to do.
candle.
Yes.
And a snack tray.
And a bottle of wine for most people. Like that's what the nice girl
And a real plant that from her garden she clipped.
Not to my house. I can't keep
Clipped
anything
flowers.
alive
I
except
can't
those
either.
kids.
I can't.
Oh, it's terrible.
I know. Okay. Ooh, reclaiming when someone says like you came in hot or you came in, my favorite, like, well, you came in a little bit strong. Because I am.
Right. I love that.
Reclaim coming in hot,
Yes.
coming in strong, coming in loud, coming in
Ladies,
difficult.
Let's come in hot.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely.
I
We're
wanna come in-
menopausal. Anyway, I'm hot all the time. Let's come in hot. It's fine.
Coming hot though, but reclaim it. Like it's not a bad thing to come in or come off strong.
Yes.
Or that was a lot.
How about the phrase, you are a lot? Oh,
Guess what? I am a lot. I am a lot. And
That
I want to
phrase.
be a lot. What I want to be less?
Yeah.
I want to be
Yeah. That's a way to
Minimal?
say you need to be smaller.
Yeah,
And
shrink,
I have had
shrink.
countless women who come in and want to talk about somebody in their life who told them they were too much.
Yeah.
And how much damage that did to them, just how much it made them feel terrible and invalidated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a terrible thing to say to somebody, but don't you ever be less.
Yeah. It's like you're not too much. Other people are not enough, right? Like you're not too loud. You were just in a room that was too small for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like get out of that room. Stop staying in there.
I always think I'm too loud because I do so much telehealth that like I'm like screaming into the screen to be
Do it. Be loud.
Sometimes I think, oh my God, I'm loud. Like I think, yeah.
Yeah. You're going to own it though. That's,
I am going
that's
to
part
own it.
of
It
it.
is what it is. Right.
Ooh, here's the question, right? And this, like, you may feel personally attacked, but it's like, well, I when I read it, I was like, ooh, who benefits from my silence? You know how sometimes it's like, should I say something? Nah, I'm not going to say anything. Should I?
Okay.
Who is benefiting from my silence? Who?
That's
Me?
a good question.
It's usually not. Someone else is benefiting
I
from
hear
my
my
silence.
husband in my head going, man, that girl's never silent.
That's what my husband, he calls it yapping. A lot of yapping over here.
My husband's like,
Lot of
she's
yapping.
silent? Where? When? I'm never there for that.
A lot of yapping.
Lot of
Yeah, but
yapping.
good girls, they keep it to themselves.
They're quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
if you were to list all the characteristics of a good girl,
Mm-hmm.
you would describe this person that's sitting quietly, perfectly still, posture's amazing,
Betty Draper from Mad
always
Men.
smiling. Yes. Always smiling and just perfect, but
Yeah.
never really saying much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Asking the question of who benefits from my silence, and if you kind of follow that or answer that, it shows you the areas of your life that you've been shrinking or operating to keep yourself small.
So let's call each other out. Is there a part in your life right now that you can think of where you're being too quiet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Go. Oh.
I don't think I can, but it's there.
What is it? Come on.
I mean, I definitely think that like there are times where I will, and I think I owned this in our like maybe Mother's Day or some other podcast we did where I said, it's a yes when it should be a no.
Oh.
Right. I'm just way too quiet. And if I were to go further with that, it's because it's easier just to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
But really, that's just because I just want to stay like acquiescent to whatever it is they want, right? Like I'm just appeasing, right? Like the good girl thing is, well, just say yes. You don't really want to do it, but just go. because that's good. That's a nice thing to do. It's a good thing to do. You should just do that. Right. So yeah, that I think that would be it, is that the quiet part of me is the part that just goes, yeah, I don't want to say yes, but I'm going to say yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And we talked about that with like boundaries and work. I do it a lot with work. I do it in relationships, overcommitting to stuff like, yes, I can. Oh, that works for me.
You're always on the go.
I am.
You do have a lot of stuff going on.
I know.
Yeah.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah. We're trying to do less.
Okay. All right. Do less.
Yeah. We're trying to do less of while simultaneously being more of.
I'm not going to be quiet, but you're just going to see me less. I'm going to be loud. You're
Yes.
just going to see me less.
Yes. Yes. Let anger guide you, because anger can offer you, I think, a lot of clarity.
Okay.
Right. So that is, instead of feeling, so when you have the good girl wound, you're doing a lot of shame around anger, like we talked about. And so now, instead of saying like, oh, I should never feel angry, it's kind of allowing yourself to feel anger and then following it and looking for clarity of like, what is it in my life that maybe I feel sad about? What in my life feels very unfair? What in my life, maybe is there a need not getting met? And trying to use anger as a form of clarity versus a tool for shame.
Yeah. I think one of the things too for women that's so disappointing, to use our word, disappointing, is when we cry when we're angry. God, that's so
I'm
frustrating.
an angry crier.
It's the worst when you're really angry and you finally get to the place where you're like, that's it. The fuse has been lit. I'm going to say what I want to say. And then the tears come and you're like, no, I do not want you to be crying right now, because you feel like it takes away
It does.
from the anger. You're like, where the hell are these tears coming from? I don't want you to show up at all. I am not in the crying hurt phase right now. I'm in the take me seriously. I am really
It's the emotional equivalent of having toilet paper stuck on your shoe. It is.
Well said.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yes.
You're like, yeah, I'm out here being serious and
fantastic
walking
in my
around,
dress.
and you have toilet paper stuck on your shoe. That is what it feels like when you cry, when you're angry, and
Love
you just
that.
have the tears streaming down, and you're like, but I
see the Instagram reels right now in my head with that. But it's the truth. It's the truth. The whole time, just so anybody who knows that, you know, when you're on the other side of us, like anger crying, we do not want them to be there. We are literally trying to do everything in our power to shut those tear ducts down. But we just, they come at the most inopportune times. It's so annoying.
Gosh, the waterworks.
I tell you.
I'll tell
It's
you.
got to be that estrogen.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, let people be wrong about you.
Yeah.
One of the things I say, and I think they say this, this did not originate with me. I think it's from 12 Steps or from the Rooms, but other people's opinion about me is none of my business.
Correct.
It's none. But also accepting the fact, listen, everyone is not for me. So I'm not going to be for everyone.
Right.
And this is the analogy I give. I'm like, yo, in the grocery store, in the vegetable aisle, everyone is the beets, right? The Brussels sprouts, they're very jealous of broccoli. Everyone loves broccoli. If you're going to eat a vegetable, you're eating broccoli, right?
Yeah. Although I do
But
love
you
a
know
beet.
what? You be a Brussels sprout, because someone's going to come along and they're going to see you for
gonna
what
eat
you
you
are.
up.
And they are just going to put you in the cart and they're like, Brussels sprout, I love you. Which
And they're
Brussels
your
sprout
people.
is my favorite
love Brussels
vegetable.
sprouts.
It's my favorite. But you know what? Like, be a Brussels sprout.
Yes.
Stop trying to be a broccoli.
Yeah.
Like, stop
Yeah.
doing that.
I hear you. Yeah. So, you know how I love to tell you that there's stories that like I tell you and you're like, girl.
Yes.
So here you go.
Oh.
So I've said before, my husband loves to golf. And when we were first together, he said, you know, come with me. We were out on vacation somewhere. Like North Carolina, I guess they have beautiful golf courses. I'm never golfed a day in my life, so I wouldn't know. But anyway, long story short, so there's 4 of us in a golf cart, me and his female cousin who I love, and then him and the male cousin. So they go ahead and we're just like driving around and we're hitting the balls every once in a while. And it's beautiful out there. I mean, the place is gorgeous. And so I'm hitting my ball and I'm driving the golf cart. And my ball goes up somewhere up there where it's supposed to go, I guess. And so I drive my little cart up there and I get out of the cart, grab my club, hit the ball. In the meantime, there are these group of elderly men screaming at me, giving me the finger, being awful. So I turned to his cousin and I was like, what jerks? And she's like, I know. And she has a little, drink in her hand, a little cocktail. We're having a fantastic day. And so the men are just awful. They're giving me the finger. They drive on by. And I see my husband and the cousin running towards us, screaming and flailing in the air. And I'm like, what is his problem? I'm trying to hit my ball, like It's very nice out. There's birds all around. Like,
Probably had a nice
ruining
outfit.
the vibe. I did have a cute little golfing
I
outfit on.
love that.
So he starts screaming at the top of his lungs, "Get the cart off the greens!" I was like, the whole place is green. What are you talking about? Apparently, you're not supposed to drive your cart all the way up to your ball. You're supposed to leave it on the cart path. I did not, and drove my cart right up to where my ball was, which I thought was the purpose of the cart. So my husband comes up, tells me what I did wrong. He moves the cart, whatever. And so we're going home, and his cousin was like, "Man, those men think you are the worst person in the world." And that's true. They were probably going around the rest of their day going, "What a bitch. She's out here on the greens. She's breaking all the rules. She's ruining the greens. She's not following the rules of the golf." And I wasn't. I was not following the rules. I broke the rules. I was being disrespectful to the place. I didn't know it. So these 4 men are going to walk around for the rest of their lives thinking that somebody didn't care enough to follow the rules, didn't care about the beautiful place she was in. I just didn't know. But you know what? I can't care. Yes, these 4 men think I was an absolute golf bitch. I can't care. It's a funny story now, and they will walk around for the rest of their lives, if they're still alive, talking about how I did that. It's okay.
You basically did like the expectant mother parking at golf,
I like just rolled right up.
Right up. That's
Just
what I'm saying.
rolled right up into like as if it was reserved for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were angry and they thought I was a terrible person. And in their perspective, I was. I did all the things that you are not allowed to do. I did that. And I was like kind of like pushing them away. I was like, "You guys are jerks." Like when I was kind of being mean to them back. And I was the one breaking the rules. I can't go back and change their mind. I can't go back and tell them it was a mistake. They're going to think negatively of me, and it's okay. It's okay. They're allowed to.
Let people be wrong about
Let
you.
them be wrong.
Because the ones that really are going to be in your life are going to take the time to kind of have a clarifying conversation or like, "Hey, you said this. Did you mean this?
Right.
Here's how it landed." We've talked about that before. But let people be wrong about you because I'm not wasting my effort trying to get you to think some way of me. I'm not doing any of that.
And
like,
it's okay that people don't like
listen,
me sometimes.
be a Brussels sprout.
Be a Brussels sprout.
Okay.
Right. Drive on the greens.
Do it.
I mean, don't, but if you do, it's okay.
So another part of healing, and we talked about this in our last episode, is practice saying no or I don't want to.
I don't want to. That's good.
I had a friend do this. This was like, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I like texted her and was like, "Oh, would you be interested in going to this country concert?" And I looked her response. It was like, "That's not really my jam." And I was like, yes.
Good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not my favorite thing. There's so many ways to say no that is kind. Right? But you don't just have to say yes to be good. Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Good girl healing. Take rest without earning it.
I know.
Without earning it.
It's a work in progress.
Baby steps.
I know.
The baby steps.
It's a work in progress.
Okay, so here's a question. What's one good girl rule you are ready to break?
That's a good one. I think the anger part is good, but I think anger is different. And, we talk about this a lot in therapy. Being upset about something, I think I would rather say that than like the anger, so to speak. But like you are allowed to be upset about whatever it is that you're upset about. And that's the part that should be where we go from. That you don't have to be good and quiet. You can be kind and upset at the same time.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
And so I think starting to have rights to your emotions, owning your rights to have those emotions and having them be heard. Doesn't have to be anger because, that can be unhealthy in a lot of ways, to be angry, but definitely to be heard and to have rights to your emotions. Yep.
That's a good one.
I like that one.
So mine is, and this is a recent development, but the sorry spray.
Oh, yeah.
I locked myself out of my office. This was like 2 weeks ago. And my car, so it was my car keys and my office keys. And I realized it as soon as I closed the door. So not only now I can't get back in my office, I also can't get home. So I had to call my husband. He came and brought the key. And then I had to call a friend of mine who had a spare key to my office. And, the whole time I'm sorry. And I realized, like, we can say sorry for something we've done intentionally or unintentionally that has caused somebody harm. But in fact, what I'm actually saying when I say, like, I'm sorry that was like so much, I'm sorry I'm such a burden, instead of that, it's saying thank you. So
Yes.
now I'm going to start saying thank you for showing up for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I'm sorry I'm such a mess, thank you for making space for me.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you
Yep.
coming all the way
Instead of,
down
I'm
here.
sorry, I'm talking so much. Thank you
Yes.
for listening to me. So turning your I'm sorry for my existence into gratitude and
Yeah.
saying thank you instead. So
Yeah.
that's the rule I'm learning
I
to
like
break.
that. I like that. Same thing to do with crying too. If you're crying, instead of apologizing for the cry, which a lot of people, I'm so sorry I'm upset, or I'm so
Yeah,
sorry I'm
yeah, we
crying.
talked about that.
No, like don't be sorry that you're
Yeah.
upset and you're
Thank you
crying.
for making space.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to me, even though I am blubbering right now.
Thank you for making space for my
Yeah.
sad.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe you too can think about what is a good girl rule you are ready to break or
Yes.
let go of.
Yeah. And work on other words other than good. You are many other things than just a good girl.
Yes. We're going to retire that word.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
All right. Until next time,
Yeah.
stay nearly normal.